All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back to the eSports Report. It's time for our top 5. This is the top 5 from pool play, broken down by JP. JP selected these plays. Send him some love on Twitter. Here it goes. Let's load it up for you right now. Your top 5. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the top 5 plays from UMG Dallas pool play material. And we're starting things off at number 5 with Aqua. Aqua, lone man inside the garage, goes to work against Optic Gaming, lights up everyone for the 4-piece. This brought his team back in the action, but in the end, it was Optic Gaming moving on. At number 4, we got Crim 6 in pool play, not to be done. Outdone by Aqua, comes in, picks up 3 kills of his own, and looking for more, is going to find the window and outside, cleans it up. Crim doing so much work, getting a lot of help indoors by Karma as well. At number 3, we go to Hook. Hook, of course, making the move over to Denial, and here he is in the last seconds. Going up against Isolation, playing under the gamertag Saints, able to sink it from downtown, wins the 1-point victory at the very end as they go on to advance in the bracket. A little bit later on, we saw TJ Halley, former teammate of Hooks back in the Stunner days. Here's TJ, 2-on-4. Until TJ goes off, using the ASM1, ripping through 2, is going to look and find the 3rd. Pressure in the back, no problem for TJ. Great job using those headphones, listening in. Spotted by the 4th player. Now he's got some help working with Wheats from a 2v4 down to a 1v2. Clayster, last man standing, and TJ is going to catch him from the side. Wheats distracting in the front. Perfect teamwork, great execution as they were able to go up on top of FaZe there for a minute inside of Solar S&D. Here is the final kill cam one more time. Great snap there from TJ, shutting down his opponent. The 4 streak, the ace, the round 5 win. Your number 1 play, though, from pool play came from Clayster. Same map, same game, just a little bit later. It is round 11, and Clayster finishes, giving them the business. Clayster getting so fired up here. Take a look at it one more time after the defuse. Clayster, just incredible bow shot, able to win the round 11, clutching up as FaZe goes undefeated in their pool. Here's a look at the shots one more time. 1v2. Clock against him, takes up the opponent straight ahead, feels the pressure, and just lights up. Chino never stood a chance. That is Clay at number 1. There's plenty more. Top 5 plays, though, in Advanced Warfare on youtube.com/MLGCOD. All right, guys, so that's a look at our pool play. Top 5. We got another top 5 coming up a little bit later. Top 5 from our champions. But before we get to the champions, we got to get to our 7th seed. Finishing in 7th place was VVV. This was a roster that we've seen the veterans on a number of different teams, but the first time for this foursome to be together, JP.
Yeah, I mean, they end up picking up Fears and Felony for this tournament. Nothing really too expected from them. It's a surprise to us that they actually got in the top 8, placing 7th, 8th. But Fizz and John just carrying this squad for the team. What are your thoughts, Max?
I mean, after Season 3 relegation, you felt the team change was coming. They dropped Killa. I mean, they dropped Sin right before Season 3 relegation, added Killa. That team didn't qualify for the Pro League. They dropped Twiz as well, who was their best player at Season 3 relegation, like breaking up that trio of Fizz, John, and Twiz for, quite some time. Fears is a player, we always see him at the beginning of Call of Duty. He's always very strong, even like Black Ops 2 and Ghosts, and then he kind of falls off the radar a little bit. And then Felony was a player that, very young, wasn't able to compete at COD Champs, kind of had some roster issues there. But props to this team placing top 8 Puckett. None of us had this team finish top 8 at all.
Oh, hell no, we didn't have them top 8, especially after seeing how they started in pool play. Let's take a look at their road to that 7th place finish, starting with pool play. They meet up against Denial. 0-3. Beat with a straight sweep. Then they lose the heartbreaker against Isolation at Game 5, and that was kind of the story of pool play. Their S&D game weren't able to close it out. Team Caliber able to beat them before G4G, the team that came out of the open bracket, sends them to the very bottom of our losers bracket, an 0-4 start. One of the worst possible, I believe. This was the 2nd worst performance in pool play, only winning 5 maps out of all the teams that were preceded coming in.
Yeah, and then the worst went to E6, going 0-4, only winning 3 maps in their pool play. But that really didn't stop VVV Puckett. They go on into bracket play, championship losers round 1. They face relapsed eSports. They take them out 3-2. Then they go up against ON, who fell out of the group of death. They're able to take them out 3-1. 3-0 is Fizz's old teammate in Killa and XGN. 3-0 Rod Squad, the surprise team from Pool B. And then before falling to TCM for top 6, 1-3.
I mean, so you look at that, they finish 0-4 in pool play, but they're able to regain composure, bounce back in bracket play, win 4 straight. However, they do end up losing to TCM, but that is a great performance coming at the last possible place that you could be in that loser bracket.
I was so impressed by their run. I figured they'd be done. I think the most notable victories here, the 3-1 over Optic Nation. That was quite surprising. Not many people saw that coming. Fizzerp versus Killa, the VVV versus XGN match. A lot of storylines coming into that one, but it was a sweep. And then Rod Squad, the team that finished second in their pool, shut down as well. So, I mean, you start off, you only win 5 maps throughout all of pool play, and then you make that ridiculous 12-3 start before losing to TCM. I was very impressed by VVV, especially on Sunday. All right, so that's a look at their overall records. VVV coming in at 7th, but I want to know, how did they get here, JP? What are some of the major stats, and what went wrong for them in their final matchup against TCM?
Yeah, so we're going to look at the TCM stats head-to-head with VVV. Fizzerp and Fears and John all near the top. I mean, it was pretty balanced with John, Felony, and Fears, but Fizzerp was at the top there. You see Felony leading in slaying. But, I mean, none of these guys were able to put up a positive KD against that TCM squad in the 3-1 loss. But this is coming off a 4-game winning streak in the losers bracket. You think they have the momentum against a TCM squad that has been looking shaky, especially in that pool play. But VVV, they were able to take it 4 games, unfortunately losing to TCM. What are your thoughts, Max?
Well, I mean, looking at like this match against TCM, you think they would probably match up a little bit better against this team than they probably would against ON, who they played in losers round 2?
Right.
But they're able to beat ON pretty handedly. Like, you would think, okay, so they're going up against Moch. Moch will probably beat Fears in the Bal battle. And then, you know, TCM's Bal, it's been Aches, you know, switching off a little bit with Moose. You know, you think, oh, Fears should be able to take that one. But unfortunately, you know, they fall 1-3 at TCM. And, I mean, still very, very impressive loser bracket run.
I really wish I could have seen that matchup against TCM and see what exactly went wrong. A lot of people in the chat are saying this is an easy losers bracket run. Let's take a look at it one more time, guys. Tell me, do you agree? Was the run through RX, ON, XGN, Rod Squad, and TCM one of the easier runs that we saw on Sunday?
I mean, ON was a tough matchup. Rod Squad, I don't know if it was that tough. I mean, they were able to play second in Pool B after Enigma 6 completely bombing out. XGN, I think that was a pretty tough matchup as well. But, I mean, RX only 3-2, that's kind of a little shaky. And then, honestly, you know, if you think, you know, they play ON instead of TCM in that losers round, instead of, you know, they flip-flop, that seems a little more realistic. But they had a really, really, really rough pool. You know, if they're able to maybe even pull off one of those wins against ISO and TK, they maybe have a different bracket, but
I think the match to look here is 3-1 to ON. I mean, none of you guys had VVV making it into the top 8, and some of you guys had ON making it into the top 8.
Yeah.
And they have to play them in the second round of losers. That's a big match for them, and the fact that they're able to get 2 wins after that, before falling to TCM, says something about this team.
And I think if Optic Nation would have won that match, they probably had a similar road. Probably would have been able to beat XGN and Rod Squad. Whether or not they'd beaten TCM, that's a story we'll have to wait to find out and see how it plays out in the Pro League. But we looked at VVV and we're trying to find what was their weakness. Well, in pool play, it seemed to be kind of closing out their best of 5 search and destroys, but they also kind of struggled in uplink throughout the weekend, just like our previous squad. We're going to take a look at another uplink gameplay. This is VVV at number 7 against TK. We're going to crank up the commentary as we listen in to some of the highlights.
Passing it, you know, 2 different players, just getting that drone up extremely quickly. You have a lot of teams now that are kind of forming like a mold, but specifically to Biolab, if you're on the side that TK is on right now, you push up and slay out and hope you can get 2, and if it doesn't work out, you take the 1. But here you can see Sharp and Neslo in your kill feed, able to push the spawn for VVV all the way out. You can see VVV just going on a huge rotation, allowing TK to put 2 on the board.
Yeah, you'd see VVV currently spawning out a little bit. Great play there. Added TK. They nailed that one down. First up, going to Theory, and it's going to be a 2-0 lead right now in favor of TK, like we mentioned. No one currently on that drone. Pretty passive flip. This is a pretty interesting game of BioLink, I guess you could say. You know, we're seeing not a whole lot of aggressive play. These teams playing pretty passively for the most part, but looks like TK once again looking to grab another point on the board. Theory was your man with the dunk last time. Looking to see if he can score here as his teammates trying to provide some cover fire.
You know, you can kind of see what TK is doing as well. Neslo right now on a 4 streak. He was sitting inside of blue there for the longest time, just waiting for his team to get control, and you can see why. As soon as he gets there, then he can push up with his teams. They sat there and waited extremely patient play. As soon as they got everybody together, worked as a whole. You see Neslo didn't get too aggressive, didn't need to rotate back, just kept the control of the map, and it pays off. TK up 4-0.
Yeah, TK with the 4-0 lead. Going to be on board with Fizzerp, who currently has that drone in his hand. To see if they can maybe nail down the first point of the game for themselves. There's going to be a player top 3 trying to watch over. This is going to be a very hard point to nail down. 2 players in front of him. Can Fizzerp get the ball in? Fierce trying to provide some cover fire. Fierce going toward the goal, puts it in. Great play there of VVV. Ultimately, I had to give that one to Fierce. Held down the cover fire, grabbed a couple kills there for Fizzerp. Fizzerp ultimately able to nail that first point.
Yeah, that was huge for both Fears and Felny. Fears right now on a 5 streak, was going on 4 to help them get the score. Felny also went on a 5 streak. Again, those 2 players, great working in tandem there. Fears still going right now, setting a purple, just destroying that player, getting that kill in essentially 1 bullet. On a 7 streak now, was 1-4, completely turned his game around, and clearly helping VVV out. John now in control of the drone.
Yeah, John's got that drone currently sitting in purple. 1 player going to be right behind him, but can he escape is the question. Some kills going down. Can they have 1 player in front of him? Hits him with the ball swipe. John able to grab it for a moment before down immediately for VVV. That's exactly what TK can do to you. They can grab kills when it matters. In Theory now on the return. Can he get the dunk? 1 player to beat. Teammates grabbing kills left and right. Theory going to add that drone in, and we're just seeing 4 downs constantly for VVV. TK looking very dominant in the slang category, but yet only a 4-point lead.
You know, TK also putting a lot of pressure into the base of VVV right now. Felony going to be able to pick up Neslo, which is going to help. Either way, though, Sharp going to be able to get that 1 point toss off. Very nice view of that, actually. John also going to kill a teammate right there. So things going right for TK, things going wrong for VVV.
Yeah, I'm just seeing constant 3 and 4 downs, and every time that TK is able to do that, they immediately respond with a drone score. Currently sitting at 7-2, 5-point deficit for VVV. Game 3 going to be very interesting as we head into the last minute of this first side. On board with Sharp, as it looks like they're going to try to grab a little bit of map control, maybe try to advance the drone as much as they possibly can. Felony going to drop in middle, John going to respond with a kill of his own, but Neslo with the drone, looking to maybe add in a 1-point play. Wants to rush up here toward green flag. Can he go for the score? Able to nail that one in. Unfortunate miss there from Fizzerp. Jumped up at just the incorrect time.
I'm gonna be honest, that's really fancy camera work, and I'm really impressed by that. That's phenomenal. Never even thought about doing it. Not necessarily for the whole match, but for the scores, actually, that's pretty nifty. Either way, though, TK up 8-2. Obviously, they were able to put in 3 dunks, 1 just capitalizing on the mistakes of VVV. Otherwise, they have been in complete control of this match, outside of when Felny and Fears went on some ridiculous streaks. And even here, they're going to be able to end it early at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Theory getting that final dunk.
Yeah, 10-2. 440 ended it pretty early thanks to that mercy rule. Theory putting in most of the uplinks. Actually has 8 out of the 10. Sharp and Neslo both with 1 points of their own, but Theory definitely the factor, doing that objective work, I guess you could say, grabbing the kills when needed. And every time I saw a drone score, Theory was there. He wanted that score at the very end. I saw he had a perfect opportunity for a 1-point play, but he said, no, I'm getting this one. We're going to end it early. And with the 20-second, minus, I guess you could say, minus 20 seconds in this next, 5 minutes, we'll see what happens here.
You know, it's funny you bring up Theory. I'd completely forgotten about this stat, but I was going back over the current Pro League stats. Theory, I think he's either on top or he's number 2, just in terms of uplink caps. Didn't see it coming, but he's on top of the league. You can see why. Already got A to his name. John, though, getting out to a pretty decent start with VVV, finally able to strike back and get another point on the board. Neslo, though, going to shut down all of their momentum, gets a 3-piece. Fizzerp does have the drone, but he's completely by himself.
Yeah, Fizzerp realized he had a perfect opportunity to get the score. What happens? All of his teammates fall, and he didn't have a response. Looks like John going to pick up a nice 2-piece, but will fall himself. Big kills going in, but TK just looking very strong on this second side as well. Played very, very well. Obviously, they had that mercy rule on the first side. Nameless picking up kills left and right. John left up. I think John's a very key player. You know, he has to go off. He's currently -3, and John's definitely the main slayer for this squad. Hasn't really showed up too much in this series.
No, not really. TK, though, just to, talk about them a little bit more, because, if they're winning, it kind of happens. But either way, you see they're taking their time and just having complete control of this game. They allow 2 people to push past the drone before Nameless finally comes in the back. Then when he grabs it, just hangs out. Doesn't try and force into the action, just waits for his teammates to do something. Sees it's not working out, gives that 15-second reset. TK literally controlling everything they possibly can. VVV a little bit alive here. They have 2 people pushing through purple. They just have to take out Sharp. They're able to do so potentially now. VVV can work something and get something going.
Yeah, Theory next to that drone. I'm gonna see if he can maybe take out a couple people here in purple. One up to his left, one up to his right. Dodges both, but will lose that gunfight to Fizzer. Fizzer actually getting a nice kill there over on who I believe was Theory, and also picks up one on Neslo. This is a great opportunity for VVV to get a score, but Fizzer, can he escape from this gunfire? He does do so, so a great opportunity to get a 1-point play. Will he score that? That is the question. I think he might have missed that one. He does. Just, I guess you could say, an air ball. That drone will fall off the map. You gotta work on your uplink throws, man.
Yeah, without a doubt, being halfway through the game span. Either way, though, Felny going to be potentially trying to get something going. You see there were 2 players from VVV that had wrapped all the way around. If Felny got that toss-off, potentially could have gotten a sneak dunk in. But now the spawn's coming in, that player popping up right in front of Nameless. Nameless able to take John out. However, Drone, though, still going to be on that 15-second reset, so still TK in control.
Yeah, you're just seeing TK just, they don't have a chance to advance map, or even get a score off. They'll just reset that clock, and, the time is definitely in their favor. A spore fall for VVV. They can just throw the drone up in the air, throw it off the map. It doesn't really matter, but TK in complete control of this game. 20-17 right now is Nameless, looking to put in this drone point as well. They haven't even scored since the half, and just like that, another point coming in. Nameless with a dunk of his own. 4 down there for TK. Could be a score opportunity for VVV, but 9-point deficit, minute and 42 seconds left. Gonna have to come up clutch here.
And they're going to have to get those early kills. It looks like John just have a bit of an open break. If they can pick up 1, potentially they could get it 2. He's going to go for that 1-point toss, and he's going to miss. You're down by 9 points right now. You're pretty much forced to go for the 2. And if you do go for the 1, you certainly can't miss that throw, especially not by that much. That is a pretty costly mistake. But either way, TK was in control of this match.
All right, guys, as you heard it there from Chance, TK in control of that match kind of from the beginning, especially in this uplink game. Not a whole lot of great stats to speak of from this VVV squad. At the end, they were able to make that nice run to the lower bracket. Not the toughest competition. Optic Nation, kind of the really big notable squad that they took out along their way. But wrap it up for me, Max. What do you see in the future for VVV? It's another team that was trying to get into the Pro League but fell short during relegation.
It's tough. I mean, we talked about it when we did our Season 3 relegation recap. Players like Fizz and John and Fears, these are all players who have won major titles on past Call of Duties. But in AW, they're kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut. They're kind of stuck teaming with the same players over and over again. They're still going to place between 12th and I'd say 7th, 8th. This is a very good placing for VVV. I think part of this might be their ceiling, is how high this team could place, depending on their bracket. But maybe we talked about it with Ben.
We talked about these players that are inside of this bubble that are continually being cycled out, and
the edge of the pro bubble.
Yeah, one team will place 7th, 8th, another team will place top 16.
Right, XGN is another example.
Continue to sub out players, and it's just not consistent, and it's not really the way that you make a top team, because you're consistently cycling those players.
Right. I mean, really the only answer that we came up with that was, experimenting with young talent. I mean, we saw someone like Parasite with Enigma 6 do it, but Puckett, that didn't really last too long.
Yeah, that's right, guys. You were talking about it in chat. I figured we should address it now. Enigma 6 announcing the first move in Roster Mania following UMG. After every major LAN event, we see some big changes in the starting rosters. It looks like Parasite has a better opportunity that will benefit him greatly. He has decided to leave E6, and we wish him all the best. So it sounds like Enigma 6 really didn't have an option to keep him. He was announcing he was gone, and it must be frustrating for a brand. You had a breakout tournament, you get 3rd place, 2 of your teammates just decide to leave. You bring on some pros, Parasite's hyping up General for you for 3 weeks. You bomb out of the tournament, and now you lose Parasite. So Does Enigma 6 at this point keep Proofy? Do you try and go back and get Cade and Exib, who made it from open bracket back into pools again?
I mean, that's tough. Proofy, we see Proofy on Twitter all the time. He looks like he's having a ball being on E6. Private jets flying to events and stuff. I mean,
I can deal with that.
I would show up to an event in a private jet to place top 18? What they finish, 18th or something like that?
Really poor place.
Really, fly me on a private jet. I'll go 0-4 for you in pool play. But
3 map wins.
Yeah, I mean, Cade and Exib, they qualify for pool play with Tactical Turtles, with 2 players, Copier and Grizzly, that we've never heard of. So there is talent among the original core of Enigma 6, but I don't think really that's the story. It's where Parasite is going now.
Yeah, that's the big question. If he has a better offer, it's got to be from a pool play team, right? I mean, outside of that, you're really playing for 2Ks, 5Ks, and maybe Gfinity if you get an invite out to that. But most of the Gfinity teams are coming from pool play. Let's talk about the pool play teams that might be looking to make some moves. TK failed to break into our top 8.
Imagine.
Optic Nation failed to break into the top 8. Looking at a few others, Orbit failed to break into the top 8. Out of the 12 teams, who do you think would be a few of the options that Parasite might have on the table?
I mean, he is definitely going to a Season 3 team because that tweet says that he has a better opportunity, obviously, going to a Season 3 team where he's going to be able to make some money in the Pro League, right?
Yep.
But it's weird because all these teams, they look set in stone like a few weeks ago, but now we entered Dallas and teams bomb out of pool play. They play Rostermania after every tournament. I mean, he could go anywhere at this point. Orbit, TCM. Actually, I don't know TCM. TCM did pretty well. Yeah. I would say Orbit, ISO, TK are your teams to look at.
I didn't even think of TCM.
I mean, these are the real scary teams, right? TCM, does he replace Jared Moose? Probably not. Is Eggs ever going to team with Parasite and drop TP? Hell no.
We could also see Rise. Rise didn't place top 8.
I don't see him going back to Team Caliber, right? He just got kind of booted from this team after the way he treated his teammates in Season 2. Isolation. You've kind of seen Parasite be buddy-buddy with Dito on Twitter ever since ISO started looking solid in the relegation tournament.
What was it? Well, Parasite they were teaming on FaZe for like a really good long part of Ghosts. Dito ended up leaving, the team that ended up winning UMG Nashville because Dito went to EG. But for me, I think ISO is a really, really solid option for him. Maybe replacing, I don't even know who Lamagod, I guess, would probably be the best option. But I mean, you place top 8 without him. Like, do you really make that move?
I think it's either Rise or Orbit. We saw Orbit. They didn't qualify for pool play because of pro points.
Right.
They don't end up qualifying for pool play through the open bracket. Do you think changes need to be made there, even though they're 2-2 in the league?
I have no idea what to ever predict from Orbit. When I go for another team that is playing Orbit, Orbit wins.
Right.
And when I don't think Orbit is going to win, they pull off a massive upset.
Yeah.
They look so insane. They clutched up so many times at the relegation tournament. I wasn't surprised, though, to see them eliminated in an open bracket. I think that's one of the most dangerous formats for any top team. The other opponent you're playing is going to be playing at their top level. I don't know. Orbit, potential spot here. I don't think we're going to see anything in our top 5 here, right? Optic Nation, maybe, but probably not.
I don't think so.
Out of the top 5 teams, that's the one that would have the best chance, but that's a low chance.
Orbit, I think, might be looking to do something a little knee-jerk reactionary. Maybe boot off one of their players and go for someone who has massive pro points to keep them out of that scenario in the future.
Right.
If there is another UMG down the line, Parasite would help them get into that top 16 in pool play instead of a squad like Dunkin' No Donuts.
Dunkin' No Donuts.
But I see Isolation as a team to highlight and Rise Nation. I think these are my 2.
I don't know. TCM kind of interests me a little bit. Maybe Moose for Parasite.
Like, why would you move people back to the UK unless you needed to?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole story behind TCM even being here. It's a European org who's coming over to NA. They could have just bought 4 players from NA and gotten into the Pro League if they wanted that goal in the original.
Well, I mean, you maybe experiment with the idea of TCM just like kind of abandoning that a little bit and just saying, well, hey, we got Ace and TP. We're thinking ahead Black Ops 3. picking up a player like Parasite, like getting 3 powerhouse NA players, or
you don't have to be
former
thinking
powerhouse.
ahead. Your players are going to leave you after Season 3 anyway. How many times have we seen a same starting lineup start in a brand new title? It never happens. It's not going to happen. That's not even an idea.
Elevate?
Rise Nation and ISO, keep your eyes on it. JP, who are your 2 teams?
Yeah, I was going to say Rise Nation and Orbit. How about you, Max?
Young Maxwell?
ISO, I think he ends up on ISO. But I think those bottom Elevate, Rise, or Epsilon might even could be on one of those 3 as well.
Elevate, Rise, Epsilon, ISO, or Orbit?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, any team that's not doing too well.
Guys in the chat, if you were Parasite, what's the most attractive out of those offers? Where would you go? Where is the most likely place he is going to end up? That is the big question in the Call of Duty community right now. For now, guys, we're going to a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll be talking about the number 6 placing team at the event, Envy. Had some great matches. They had some rough losses. We'll talk all about it after this.